This is Jonathan Aguilar here for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined by Johnny Nelson. It's Monday morning. Johnny, 1,000 fans can make quite some noise in there. What was it like inside the arena on Saturday night?
I suppose getting used to having no fans there at all, and just the odd noise of the cornermen, and that's it. To have a fans there, it felt so good. You know, when they were singing, watching people milling around, it just felt good. It looked good. And it was only 1,000 people, and it was just a great vibe. And enjoyed it. And I'm quite sure they did as well. But he got what he wanted. He got some boxing. He got knockouts, and I think Anthony Joshua showed a side to him that he's developing. That he's actually not bad at all. He's actually looking pretty good.
Do you think the atmosphere had a genuine effect on the fight?
Not really, no. Anthony Joshua went there when Usyk boxed Chisora, and he knew exactly what to expect. And believe it or not, people are used to seeing the amateurs fight. Well, the amateur only experiences, unless you're into boxing, is when you see the Olympics and you think that's what it's like. It ain't like that. It's usually like you're boxing in an empty hall, nobody's there. So these guys, it's not foreign to them. They're probably used to bigger and better things now. But it was. I don't think it affected their performance at all, and improve or make any difference. And Anthony Joshua, in a way, has said to himself, it's now about him and his team and getting the job done.
People wanted to see the destructive Anthony Joshua. People wanted to see the one we saw against Povetkin, Klitschko. Is that what we saw on Saturday night, do you think?
We did. And I just think, I'm just getting the sun out of the way there. I just think, he can't win. Either way, he boxes, people aren't happy. He knocks them out, people aren't happy, but he did them both. And I think it was a great improvement. I actually think, you know what, carry on, son, you'll be all right. Look at the man he's just taken out. You know, and the thing is, this guy was avoided by other fighters, and Joshua, he hurt him, then knocked him out, and he was dangerous. And I think if it wasn't for that boxing ability, that he's adapted to what he'd have got done himself, because you can see Povetkin was working on that long left hook, high hook, to try and catch him on the temple. And Joshua's smart enough to slip and roll and get out of the way of them. Good on him. I like that.
Dillian Whyte felt that he was trapped between styles. Do you agree with that?
He was adjusting. And the only trap there was him. I know AJ wants to have a tear up, and he's probably arguing, stays disciplined. No, let me just have a dig. And he was adjusting, and it's going to take him. It's not an overnight thing. So I don't knock his performance. If there was any criticism, I'd say I'd have dropped a few more jabs out when you were resting on the jab. You know, when you're getting a bit of a breather, just tap the jab out, get the measure, take the back, put him off balance. I think he did well.
I mean, the finish was brutal, but Kubrat Pulev, as a fighter, getting up time after time, people thought that was it in the third round. What's going through his head when he's taking that punishment and he's getting up? What is going through a fighter's head?
So Pulev, as far as he was concerned, he was going to win that fight. He thought it was his destiny. That's what he wanted. That's what he expected. It was his destiny. So no matter what happened to him, he thought, I'm going to do this. I am doing this. It's my time. I'm going to do it. And so when you've got a man like that in front of you, they're dangerous. They're like Evander Holyfield. He can be getting beaten up. He thinks he's going to win the last 10 seconds of the last round, and he's still giving it his all. And Pulev showed that side to him where he was just dangerous all the way through.
Is that the mental? Does that show the mental side of the game? Does that show?
Without doubt. Because if you're hitting someone and you're rocking them and they keep coming back, it either breaks your heart or, excuse my French, makes you shit yourself. Or you think, all right, I'll give you twice as much, twice as hard. And so how Pulev was and how he came, came back at Joshua. I commend him.
Attention, obviously, after the fight, went to Tyson Fury, Anthony Tyson Fury. Now, what did you make of AJ's post-fight interview when he was asked by Andy Scott whether he wants to fight Fury next? He said, if Tyson Fury has the belt, then I'll fight him. What did you make of those comments? People, I think, expected him to...
There's your answer. I think Tyson Fury and the public are probably frustrated that he didn't take that chance to be offensive, aggressive, have a swipe at him. And Joshua answered it with class and said, if he's got the belts, he's him. I want the belts. And because if you give if Tyson and Joshua's interview, if you made it all about Tyson Fury, you've got two guys that think they're at the top of the tree. So why would one support the other? Why would one make out as though he's the guy, he's the man? So Joshua could see in all the preparation, the build up to that, everything's changed. He wants to control his environment, control his interviews. He'll answer what he wants to answer. You're not pressuring him. And he just said, I want the belts. So if Tyson Fury has the belts, it'll be him. End of. So Tyson Fury, I'm quite sure Tyson Fury said, yeah, the big dosser had a blah, blah, like he did on the thing, if he was asked after a fight. But after that post-fight interview, it was about Anthony Joshua. And he made sure it stayed about Anthony Joshua. And he wouldn't be corralled into saying something what other people wanted. For Tyson Fury, of course, the response from Tyson Fury, that's what he's got to say. What else would he say? That's Tyson Fury. Of course he's going to stick out some abuse.
I saw your interview during the week that you did with AJ. What did you notice from the vibe you got with him from that interview you did with him for Sky? Have you noticed any kind of changes from him since maybe the Ruiz fight? How have you noticed sort of him mature?
Yes, I've noticed the maturity. I've noticed I see scars not of the fight, scars of the fans, and because the backlash he got, he had to be humble and take his licks and turn it round and won the rematch. But he learned a harsh lesson from that period of time, from seeing people change. It's like day to night, from being a hero to a zero, and everybody all of a sudden telling him how bad he is now and whatever. And so it hurts. And the reason why I see those scars, I remember when I used to see in the newspaper, I boxed Dillian. It was a board draw, and obviously social media wasn't as relevant as it is now. It wasn't even around. And then the newspapers, when there was a little caption cartoons, they had a cartoon of a guy in a hospital bed, and he'd been in a coma for 10 years, and he woke up to turn a Johnny Nelson fight off. It was that boring. That's supposed to be a joke. Yeah. What I'm saying is, these are jokes when about somebody, but that somebody is somebody. Somebody's father, brother, mother, sister, whatever. And so people don't realise. So when you're getting laughed at or have an opinion of someone at someone's expense, it hurts. So when Anthony Joshua said, I've become thicker skinned, I know exactly where he's at. Because trust me, it might not be a big deal to everybody else out there. Oh, you just lost a fight. It's your life. There's a lot on it. And so it meets his world. And he hurt. And I totally get it. I totally get where he's coming from. I totally get the mindset. Totally get it. So, and people, if you don't understand, don't get it, you'll not see it. So I understand why he boxed the way he boxed. He did what's good for him, good for his team. If what he does pleases the crowd, he'll acknowledge it. If he doesn't please the crowd, he'll say, stuff here. So what? How
did you deal with that sort of backlash?
It was hard, man. It took me I became thick-skinned. So when he said that line, I thought, I know exactly what you're talking about, mate. I became thick-skinned. So when people say good or bad things about me, I don't listen to them. I don't take it personal. And that's why I came out with a quote, don't take it personal unless they know you personally. And even the people that know you personally, one or two of those will shock you. So it's very hard, but once you've come through it and once you've experienced it, then you can handle it and you have your mindset. You're not begging for their gratitude, their thanks, their applause. You think, I don't care. I've seen a horrible side to you. And as a fighter, it's the mental side. It's very, very hard. And unless you go through it, you don't understand it.
Tyson Fury said even today that Anthony Joshua's tailor-made for him. He believes within the first 4 rounds. What do you make of those comments? Is this something that could happen, do you think, or is it just hype for the fight?
I can see the fight happening. I gather Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn are now talking anyway. I can see the fight happening. In regards to Tyson Fury's claims, of course he's going to say that. He's got to say that. You know, but the fight is not just won when the bell goes. That's the pinnacle of it. But the battle is getting into someone's head. You've got to make them think they're not as good as you. They're lucky to be in with you, or they need a lot of luck to beat you. You've got to criticise and break down their style. And I've said it before in a couple of interviews. Tyson Fury's truth serum is his dad. His dad said Tyson Fury would walk through Deontay Wilder, would blast Deontay Wilder 6, 7, 8 rounds. People thought he was an idiot. This guy, it was spot on. His dad knows. When you're talking about big guys fighting, he knows what his son can do. He knows what Anthony Joshua can do. He didn't say, what his dad said, that's a hard fight. My son will win, but that's a hard fight. You know, so the fight's harder than what Tyson Fury is giving people the impression of. And Tyson Fury knows that. So, of course, you got to sell it. Of course he's going to say, yeah, I'll do this. Of course. He sells it.
However, Tyson Fury has beaten every single man he's faced, and the one person he hasn't, he beat in the rematch. How would Anthony Joshua, who's also done the same, go about beating?
I hear that. I hear that. So let's answer this one. How many champions or world title challengers has Tyson Fury beat compared to Anthony Joshua? You look at the resume, look at the people he's boxed. So yes, his 2 biggest wins are Deontay Wilder and Klitschko. And what else? So what I'm saying to you is how deep a water you're in. Yes, Tyson's shown, you know what, I dealt with Klitschko, I dealt with Wilder twice. You know, I've shown I can wade in deep waters. Anthony Joshua's been consistently fighting former world champions, consistently fighting world champions or world title challengers. I don't know if I'm at 8. I might be wrong. I think that's the number for Tyson Fury's too. So I understand what you're saying. I understand there's no blueprint to beating him because he's not lost yet. It's not until somebody loses you see how easy they can lose. And that's what you thought about Anthony Joshua. You know, you thought, wow, this guy's, oh my God, I never knew that happened. And all of a sudden it's a shock. All of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I see that. So it's just, once you see a blueprint to doing something, then it's the impossible no longer seems impossible.
By the same token, though, Joshua's been through that adversity. Do you think he thrives under it? Do you think he's a better fighter now for what he's been through?
It's the best thing that could have happened to him because the mentality that he was developing going into that was that of entitlement. To say, just have to tell him, I get this done. He now knows, getting in the ring, even as a champion, you've got to fully respect the man you're boxing. No matter how much notice he got or what he looks like, you've got to fully respect him because he can turn you over. And there's a responsibility that comes with being a champion. You can play the game and play the king, but the responsibility is you've got to respect everybody's in front of you. And the hardest thing about being a champion is that everybody's watching you, everybody's plotting and planning for you. There's probably a kid that's just turned pro now that's looking at Anthony Joshua and looking at Tyson Fury and plotting, oh, I'd beat him that way, oh, I'd do this or that. So he's got years of creating a game plan to beat you. You've got 12 weeks to catch up on those years of somebody watching your habits, what you do and what you don't do. That's the responsibility of being a champion. And if you can do that, that means you're a real champion. And that's why champions are champions and challengers are only challengers.
How do you expect the situation to play out? Do you think we see that fight next, or do you think we see Alexander Usyk with Josh?
Yeah, it's show business. And unfortunately, business gets in front of the show a lot of the time. I know they're talking about it. It can be done. And they are the only 2 fighters that are bigger than the belts. So they could actually do it without the belts, and people will still recognise them as the best in the world. the governing bodies have looked really stupid, not recognising them and having them as their champion. But it depends on what you want. Anthony Joshua says he wants to unify the belts. So basically, there basically needs to be a way to deal with this. And if he has to fight Usyk, he'll fight Usyk.
Final one.
Make him step aside if that's possible. It's fine.
Final one on the whole AJ Fury debate and situation. Is Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury's toughest opponent?
Yes.
Oh, you've muted.
Yes, because what about Klitschko? Klitschko, yeah, he was tough. Klitschko was experienced. He was seasoned, but he wasn't the same age. He wasn't as young or as fresh. What about Wilder? Wilder was the biggest puncher I'd ever seen, but that's all he was, a puncher. And even before that fight, there's many times people you'd look at Wilder and think, oh my God, he technically is crap, but a guy can punch. So technically, he'd be behind a lot of fighters, but still had that power. So now he's going to Tyson Fury up against someone that can box, that can fight, that is young, that is fresh and ambitious. So now he's meeting a mirror image of himself. And so that's why, to me, that's the toughest fight. On paper, it's the toughest fight.
Thoughts on the undercard? Good wins for Lawrence Okoli, Hughie Fury. Who stood out for you the most?
Lawrence Okoli. Lawrence Okoli is definitely going to be world champion. He would have been world champion if that didn't fall through for the vacant title. I think Okoli boxed well. He showed his strength, but I don't know where he is. I don't know where he'll be, because you saw two fighters that were kind of at the same stage in their career. He's strong. I wouldn't put my prospect in with him because it's too tough. But then he lost to Hunter, so you're thinking, was that too early for him? Would he beat? Has he improved? Would he beat Hunter again, or has he found his level? So he's in no man's land. And as I said, if I was a coach, I wouldn't put my fighter in with him unless he was really special.
Just want to touch on some boxing from last week. Anthony Yarde beaten by Lyndon Arthur. All the credit to Lyndon Arthur on a great win. What did you make of that? Yeah,
I think Lyndon Arthur did a great job with basically one hand. The basics of our sport. And he boxed well within himself, so he's actually better than what we saw. But also in saying that, on that night, so both fighters know about each other. On that night, Anthony Yarde lost. He didn't get beat; he lost, and there's a difference there. And he should have taken advantage of that night, because if they fight again, then Lyndon Arthur will know what he's got to do and change things up and up his game and have that confidence and belief in what he can do. Anthony Yarde needs to put his foot on it, get his head out of his ass and say, right, no, man. It's not about looking too busy looking good. I'm just getting in there and doing my job. You got to fight like you're a hungry fighter. When you can play some fighters getting in there, there's only one or two that can do that. And you've got to be something special. So I think Yarde lost rather than was beat.
Sunday Ajayi's trainer came in for quite a bit of criticism after the fight. Do you think that was justified?
The only criticism I give Tunde is not putting a firecracker up Anthony's arse. And that's it. Yeah, but Tunde's a good trainer. He's a knowledgeable trainer. He's very unorthodox about what he does. But he should have just put more of a firecracker up Yarde's arse, saying, "Get this done. Dig in, boy. Come on. You've got to step it up. Don't be sitting back." And I know sometimes you have to massage a fighter's ego to make him think, "Yeah, I can do this." But sometimes you got to crack that whip. Say, "Yo, you're better than this. Get out there and get it done. You're letting this kid do this to you." And so I don't know why you get the stick. We don't know everything that was said in the corner, what we did say in the corner. Tundi was, I thought he was massaging his ego to say, yeah, you're doing well, son. Like, you're doing well, son. But I think he just needs to change his line of persuasion.
We know Anthony Yarde's young enough to come back and he's had the experience at world level, but what do you think this means now for the domestic scene, especially Buatsi and Callum Johnson? Does that mean a fight with Lyndon Arthur's closer, or do you think the Yarde fights can still happen?
What Lyndon Arthur deserves. Lyndon Arthur's a Commonwealth champion. He deserves it. And he's probably the one we've not talked about all this time. He's been ignored. You've talked about Johnson, Yarde, Buatsi. Why not Lyndon Arthur, who's Commonwealth champion? Now you've got to. He's gate crashed. He said, no, hold on a minute. This is what I've got. What are you doing?
Just also touching on last week, you were trending in the UK about 9 p.m. on Friday. Listen, James Tennyson, a great performance. What did you see from him that made you think that he could beat Gervonta Davis?
Power. So the devil's in the detail. I said, if this man hits Gervonta Davis, he'll knock him out. He'll beat him. He's got world-class power. That's it. So you can get all giddy and stupid and say, Nelson, you know what you're talking about. You know, do you realize what this guy can do? Yeah, I get that. But Tennyson has world-class power. So if he gets hit, underlining that, if Davis gets hit on the line by Tennyson knocks him out with that kind of power. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what people are missing. I don't understand what they're not getting. Tennyson's shown he has world-class power. I'm not talking technique. I'm not talking boxing ability. I'm talking power. The devil's in the detail.
So would you put him in with him straight away?
If I was Gervonta, I'd have him now before he gets any better. If he can get better, he's still raw. He's still. You can see how he can be beaten. He has been beaten already. But I'd get a couple more fights in to feel that confidence about that as well. Tennyson's got to go in there and think, I don't care, I'm going to drop it on this boy here. So it's about that as well. So he probably himself doesn't fully believe he could do that yet, because he's seen his post-fight interview. So he's got to go in there with serious intentions and self-belief. So a couple of fights more will probably give him that.
Just a few more. Campbell Hatton signed with Matchroom this week. I'm sure you would have seen him in the bubble. What's that like, seeing Campbell Hatton, Ricky Hatton's son, turn professional?
He walked past me, and I had to double take because he's just like a younger version of Ricky. How he stands and holds when he's got his coat on, he's got his jacket on. I can remember seeing Ricky like that, like a little school kid in his shirt and tie, a shirt and jacket. And I thought, well, good on him. There's a lot of pressure on him because he's the son of a UK legend. So, of course, you know, and I'm quite sure his dad has prepared him as much as he possibly can for when that day comes. So, yeah, that's how it is. It's going to be pressure, and it'll be assessed. And no matter what, he's going to get criticised from day one because he's not his dad. So he's not doing what his dad did. He'll be watched. He's not one of the fortunate to be a fighter that can slide through under the radar and as a professional and learn his craft. Anybody that fights him is going to want to take a scalp. And it's not Ricky Hatton, but it's his son. You know, so they want to Hatton win on their record.
Do you know what I really wanted to ask you? I keep forgetting, but you know when sort of a fighter takes a loss and sort of people are like, he's no good, he's done. Yeah. Why is he losing so early in his career? Now, obviously, you had a few losses at the start of your career. How, number one, what do you make of sort of when fighters get criticised for losing so early on? And from your perspective, how did you mentally sort of turn it around? Because I'm sure it was also a mental battle to, you know, get off that rut.
So I can tell you this because I've been through it. So people that are listening to this, you know, if you're thinking, well, why are we listening to you? I've been there. You know, it's the one thing you can't experience. Is the one thing you can't buy, borrow, pretend to have. I've had it. I've worn the T-shirt. And what I say is for the fighters that are swayed by the public after a loss, that are influenced by the public after a loss, more fool you. You know, because you've got to remember, you're the one that's getting up at stupid o'clock in the morning to go running. You're the one that's killing yourself in the gym to train 2 or 3 times a day. That's dieting. So why would you let somebody that's never put a glove on in their life, some armchair champion, influence you in what you're doing? I don't get it. I know it's hard and it's hard coming through, but if you just break it down, fighters just break it down, excuse my French, I don't give a shit what people say. You know, because if they haven't done it. Now, if it's other fighters, you check out those other fighters, you think, oh, well, that might not work for you, but this works for me. And that's it. So no matter what they say, they've got to respect you once you're in there. So your peers, the other people that are in your business, yeah, you look and think, all right, I'll take some of your advice, I'll ignore that. But why would you be influenced and hurt? Well, that's just human nature. Why would you let it affect your fighting game? By somebody, a fan. Fans are there to love or hate you. Fans aren't there to teach you how to do your job. That's why you're doing the job and they're fans. And that's why when you get so many people with so many great opinions and so-called great opinions and think they're Angelo Dundee, as the sport, and it's not just boxing, it's any sport, football, tennis, anything. And when I read about sportsmen getting upset because of what we've seen on social media, don't take it personally if you don't know you personally. These people have never done what you do. These people have never had to live in your shoes for a week. These people don't get in the ring and have to smile and get smashed in the face. So why would you listen to somebody that has no idea? And I can tell you that through experience. So at the time, I'm telling you at the time, yeah, it burned me. But after a while, I thought, I actually don't care. So even now, if people say, Nelson, you're boring, this, that, and the other, give a shit. I was world champion. I set record of defences. So I'll leave you ignorant. So it don't matter what people say. I know what I've done. What I've done is fact. So I don't take it personal. And I give that message to other fighters coming through. Ignore them. It's not disrespecting them. But if they're going to chat shit, then you can just block them. Whatever. It's your opinion. Leave them ignorant. And to me, I just... I see a lot of... Even this in the build-up to the AJ fight. I just thought, I see a lot of people haters. I'm like, wow. I just smile. I think, you know what, human nature, never be surprised by it.
Johnny, we're reaching the end of the year. It's been a strange year, not much boxing, but luckily we've had, well, a fair bit in the last few months. I want to get quick opinions, right? It's going to be sort of a one answer per question. Fight of the year so far for you?
Wow. Oh, come on, man. Well, we've not had much action this year. And so I'm going to jog my memory banks, because fight of the year is it knockout of the year. Knockout of the year. The shock of the year is obviously Dillian Whyte against Povetkin. I've never had go quiet before until that night. Fight of the year. There are some fights. Jesus, I'm going to miss it. I know I'm going to miss something, so please forgive me if I don't get saved, if I miss something. I'm trying to think. Because actually in fight camp, I saw some really good fights that I thought, wow. And the problem is, even on our Facebook live shows, I've seen some fights. I'm like, this should be on TV, man. This is wicked. There's so much to choose from, but my mind's kind of gone blank because I'm trying to juggle which one I want.
All right, KO of the year then.
If you give me a selection, I'll play with them.
Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz, Povetkin White, Zelfa Barrett, Donovan.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Povetkin White. That's knockout of the year, not fight of the year. Good fight, but they were better fights. So you're stuck in between.
Yeah, for knockout of the year. Do you think that was knockout of the year?
Yeah, man, definitely.
What about most improved fighter, would you say?
Again, most improved fighter, I think is Dillian, but he got knocked out. You know, this guy's improved massively. Heavyweight anyway. I think Conor Benn, I think he's improved a hell of a lot, man. But it's about opportunities for fighters. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's so much choice. You're never going to get it right.
And finally, what about trainer of the year, do you think?
Oh, trainer of the year. Let me think. He's not trainer. I think because I would actually say, because I was actually going to say Don Charles did a good job with Joe. Sam Jones did a good job in pushing and promoting and being a mouthpiece for Joe Joyce when he boxed the heavyweight. Daniel Dubois, and because he was up against somebody, as in Frank Warren, somebody that had experience, that had known the game inside out. And I remember watching these two fall in a debate when they were talking, and Sam Jones absolutely bamboozled him, and he showed a young upstart boldness about him when he was actually sat round talking around Frank Warren. It wasn't until after the fight you realise this boy was bang on right. Would I give him Promoter of the Year? No. I'd give Eddie Hearn Promoter of the Year. I think he's done an amazing job for boxing worldwide. Company man. But no, he's Eddie Hearn, you've got to give it him.
Literally the last one I want to ask you. We're looking into 2021. Big fights. Dillian rematch with Povetkin. I know you said on record you think he's gonna win the rematch. If he wins that, Deontay Wilder said that he would fight Dillian Whyte. He said in that interview he'd fight Dillian Whyte. Do you think that would be a fight you'd want to see?
Talk's cheap. Deontay Wilder. Yeah, of course. But Dillian Whyte needs his crack. And that's what I'm saying. You can't have everything you want. We want to see Tyson Fury against Joshua. But we also want to see Dillian Whyte get his crack at the world title. So you can't have everything. So if that didn't happen, then Deontay Wilder, yeah, man. Let's see if it actually happens, though. Because Dillian Whyte has been in a position to fight Deontay Wilder before. Deontay Wilder developed amnesia. Blinkers were on. You couldn't see or hear nothing. So of course he's going to say that. Deontay Wilder now is back in that queue. The king is dead. So I'm the man. He's in the queue like every other heavyweight. He's probably richer than everybody else in the queue. That's all, and he doesn't like it being there. So and unfortunately, like it or not, Deontay Wilder is in the who needs him club, because if he can't capture himself and win this court case to fight Tyson Fury again, who on earth is going to fight him? Because the guy can punch like a mule kicks. Risk or outweighs reward. So unless there's something worth it, you're thinking, nah, I ain't going to fight you. I'll go somewhere else. So that's why I said, don't be surprised if Wilder drifted out of the game, because he ain't got nothing to bargain with now. And he's too dangerous to get a legitimate challenge out there. Yes, of course, there's fighters out and think, stuff it, I'll go in and get knocked out for a couple of mil. But any champion or any fighter or challenger or any top 5 heavyweight worth their salt ain't going to go into roll over. They're going to go into win.
I think we'll leave it there. Johnny Nelson, been an absolute pleasure. Thanks very much for all the time you've given us this year. And if we don't speak before the end of the year, I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. God bless, brother. You too. You take care of yourself.